This is an excerpt from the full discussion that I had with Mr. Jijit Nadumuri Ravi on Indic studies, Bharatiya Itihasa, civilizations around the river Sindhu, river Saraswati, and the timelines of Indian epics. So let's get started.
So the next question, because you're talking about the lineages, and based on these lineages, you have also created a chronology and timelines of the Ramayana and the Mahabharatas. So if you could give some specific proofs, because there are a lot of historians who are claiming different timelines, starting from 7,500 to 3,300 to 1,700 nearby, which you were saying. So if you could just brief, what are the proofs that your timeline is having certain kind of proofs? You just tell us about those proofs in a brief way.
Yeah. See, what happens is that something very unfortunate happened in India because the Aryan invasion theory is projected on us. So they have arbitrarily decided that Rigveda is 1500 BC, later to 1500 BC, and they give a very late, very compressed chronology of, after Aryans came in here 1500 BC, they got settled for some 200 years to 300 years. And 1200 BC onwards, the Rigveda they have authored, and by 800 BC they completed it. And then all of a sudden, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, Upanishads, Itihasas, Puranas, everything is authored by 500 BC, because after 500 BC, Buddha is emerged. So this is a total compressed and nonsense chronology that the Westerners have created. But then in reaction to that, because once you start compressing, there will be natural reaction to that compression. So our people got hurt. So many nationalist researchers, they started expanding it like anything. So their objective was almost like in reaction to the this Max Muller and other Western scholars with Aryan invasion theory. So in reaction to the Aryan invasion theory, they retaliated. Emotionally, they retaliated and they put a very exaggerated chronology. So some people, there is no limit to it. Some people say Rigveda is 85,000 BC. Some people say Mahabharata is 5,561 BC. It happened in the Mesolithic period, where we don't even have the metals like bronze or copper, bronze or iron. Nothing is discovered. And some other guy will tell that Ramayana happened in 12,209 BC, where it was a Paleolithic age, Stone Age. So these people are actually emotionally charged up and then trying to refute the Aryan invasion theory. They're putting all this exaggerated date. So it has created a kind of a very unfortunate situation where in reaction to the Aryan invasion theory, you created something even much more nonsensical dates. So what happened is when you look at the actual data inside the Rigveda, it is reflecting the Bronze Age. And the Bronze Age in the northern India, that is Indo-Gangetic Plain, the Bronze Age is from 3000 BC to 1900 BC. And that is also corresponding to the date of the Rigveda, because it's a pure Bronze Age culture. Now, why is 1900 BC? Because after that, the Iron Age started. The Iron Age is not mentioned in the Rigveda. So definitely the iron-related things are later to the Rigvedic period. But of course, in the Yajurveda and Samaveda and Atharvaveda, Iron is mentioned. Ramayana and Mahabharata, Iron is mentioned. So naturally, we date the late part of the final concluding part of the Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharvaveda as later to 1900 BC, because iron is mentioned there. Similarly, the Ramayana and Mahabharata also, you have the mention of iron weapons, iron arrows, narakas, and all these things are mentioned. Of course, it also mentioned Bronze Age weapons, etc. But then the major new technology, as a new technology, you see iron. So my dating is actually corroborates the metallic, the age of the development of the metals. So the Rigveda is correctly aligned to the Bronze Age, 3300 BC to 1900 BC. And the Itihasas, Ramayana and Mahabharata is correctly aligned to 1950 to 1750 BC. And within this range, we have a very interesting Kurukshetra war date by Dr. Ashok Bhatnagar, who have corroborated all the planet movements, nakshatras. So it's an astronomical date which completely agrees with this range of 1950 to 1750 BC Iron Age. So within that Iron Age, he has dated it in 1793 BC for the Kurukshetra war. And then we back calculate, you get very clear clarity, like Dasarajana Battle, they fought. And during that time, there was only bull-driven chariots. And exactly that same evidence you get from Rigveda, from the third mandala. The bull-driven chariots are like crossing the Sutlej Bias confluence and led by Vishwamitra. And same thing you can also see in the Indus Valley, early Harappan culture. You have the chariots driven by bull. And as a new technology, the chariot driven by horses, they start emerging by 2000 BC, around 2200, 2000 BC. And exactly the same thing you can see in the Rigveda. In the late mandalas, you have the horse-driven chariots. And naturally, both in the Ramayana and Mahabharata, you have horse-driven chariots. So you have the technology of weapons, metallic weapons, bronze and iron matching with your chronology. Technologies like chariots, like earlier bull-driven chariots connecting with Dasarajana Battle, and later horse-driven chariot connecting with the Kurukshetra war. Everything is perfectly matching. And the last point is Saraswati River. So in the early Rigvedic period, Saraswati is mentioned as flowing from the mountain up to the ocean. But in the late Rigvedic period, there is a lot of dry climate mentioned, like Anavas. So Rigveda is mentioning the Thar Desert, Cholistan Desert, and many desert region. So that correspond to the late dry up stage of Saraswati. And lastly, the same thing is corroborated by Balarama, who during the Kurukshetra war, that he sees the Saraswati as dried up by half. It was flowing up to Vinashana, and after that there is no water, completely dried up. And Balarama was using it as a road from Dwaraka up to Kurukshetra.
Okay. And also you mentioned something about the lineages regarding Rama and Shantanu's timings.
So if you could pay upon that. Correct. So the Rigveda is a very important text for our Bharatiya Itihasa. So of course the Rigveda is a liturgical text which is focused on the prayer of Indra and others. But because of its the development in the ancient period, it has well captured the chronology and geography of that period. And in that, it also captures some of the Aitihasic kings. So Shantanu and Devapi is mentioned in the 10th mandala of the Rigveda. And that connects Rigveda to Mahabharata, where Shantanu and Devapi are very prominent. And you have Shantanu's son Vichitravirya mentioned in the Yajurveda. Even Dhritarashtra also mentioned the Yajurveda. And then the children are the Kauravas and the Pandus children are the Pandavas. So they are mentioned in the Mahabharata. But then soon enough, Parikshit is mentioned in the Atharva Veda. That is after Arjuna, Abhimanyu's son Parikshit. So we have all the Vedas corresponding to the lineage of Shantanu up to Parikshit. And similarly, in the 10th mandala, you have Shri Rama mentioned. So Rama connects Rigveda to Ramayana. And in my book, I have given a lot of details, the rivers of Rigveda. There, I have identified that Ramas, because there is a possible, it could be another king. So, but I have solved that equation, solved that kind of confusion, and unambiguously have proved that is Sri Rama himself by corroborating the data in the Rigveda and the Ramayana, and supported by some references in the Mahabharata as well. And we have the cities like Hastinapura and Kurujangala mentioned in the Ramayana, which actually very clearly shows that Rama lived after King Kuru, who comes in between as an ancestor of Shantanu. So everything matches together. So you have Rigveda as a sheet anchor for both Ramayana and Mahabharata, with Rama mentioned in the Ramayana, the 10th mandala of the Rigveda. And then same way, Shantanu and Devapi mentioned in the 10th mandala of Mahabharata, Rigveda, which means that Rama and Shantanu are chronologically at equal position. They are in the same timeline, Rama and Shantanu. And so the Pandavas lived a few generations later to Shri Rama. So between Shri Rama's lifetime and Kurukshetra war, there are something like 100 years of difference. And all these things matches with the chariot technology, iron technology, everything. Okay.
Want to see the full podcast? The link is given in the description and on the screen. Hope you enjoyed this video. If this video added value to you, Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with a friend who may find this helpful. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.